Ich sag's mal, wie es ist. Film ab. Du guys.
Touches me. It awakes emotions. And that is what it's all about, emotions. In content marketing and in real life, emotions. The question all marketers have is how to get in top of the people's mind. And the answer is affect them, touch them, and entertain them with great storytelling. Stories that are deep and long-lasting, stories that entertain, and stories that inform, stories that sparkle a flame. My name is Yvonne Beister. I'm the head of Axel Springer Brand Studio, and this is my colleague Alexander Franke. He is director of content marketing.
Thank you, Yvonne. So I have the pleasure of introducing our brand studio at Axel Springer to you and tell you in a few words how we think content marketing. And I think everybody in here knows, and no matter whether you're in Buxtehude or Berlin or anywhere else, I think content marketing is this year's buzzword, and it's this OMR's major topic. But what's the secret of good content marketing? And we at Axel Springer, we believe it's not about just producing content, placing it somewhere, and hoping and praying that your audience will reach you and find you. We rather think it's about catching the audience at their specific emotions, and at the end of the day, about telling great stories. So at Axel Springer, we carry the DNA of journalists within us. We have more than 65 years of storytelling experience and more than 65 years of journalistic history with major assets like Welt and Bild, who probably everybody knows in here. And 3 years ago, we decided to consolidate all our content marketing activities within Axel Springer and set up our professional in-house agency, our content marketing agency, the Axel Springer Brand Studio. And today, we're not only able to use our traffic sources and then drive hundreds of thousands of users to your content within very few minutes, but we are as well able to generate conversions for our clients, whatever they demand. Or if you look at your long-term brand perception, we are of course able to influence that as well. If that's not enough for you, we have our exclusive data segments where we watch our users move along our different assets and classify them for their specific interests. And if you don't favor the shotgun approach for your content marketing campaigns, we can do very precise targeting, and we can make sure that you reach a very exclusive and specific audience, the audience that works well for you and engages most possible with your content. And last but not least, the Lochis have just been on stage, and of course we have a very vast network of influencers and are able to use these influencers, extend your campaigns and give them a different twist in social media and yet another boost. So what does it mean in numbers, what we have produced or what we have generated during the last year? We've worked for more than 238 clients and generated an overall of 18 million views with an average engagement rate of roughly 2 minutes. So at the end of the day, we generated 36 million engagement minutes, and I calculated this morning, it's actually more than 75 years of engagement we've generated during the last year.
Yeah, thanks, Alex. I think these numbers are showing that we are really successful today. But the big question is, what will happen tomorrow? And I'm so glad to have two experts here on stage. They will share with us their essentials of content marketing of the future. Very warm welcome to Patricia Chui. She's Executive Director of Business Insider from New York. And my dear colleague Karsten Günther, he is Head of Business Development at the Axel Springer Brand Studio. Welcome, you guys.
Thank you, Yvonne.
So, first question, Patricia, is you're from the States, you're from Business Insider. Business Insider is an innovative machine. Every content marketer from Germany is looking towards your stories and your content. Is that really necessary, Carsten? Do we really have to hide?
So, yeah, to briefly jump into your question, I think change in the digital media and entertainment ecosystem happens so fast these days, and sometimes, we are challenged to really sit back and look at what we're doing, what we're producing, and ask the question, what is next in the industry? And I was lucky enough to meet some of your team in New York a couple of years back, and so I'm very happy that you are here with us today on stage, and you're actually coming from another festival in Louisiana. This is a festival as well, but thank you for being here.
Yes, I came straight from New Orleans, where I was at Jazz Fest, which is a very different kind of festival. I've been traveling so much. I haven't had a chance to watch Game of Thrones yet, so please don't anybody spoil it for me. But yeah, I actually started our brand studio at Business Insider. We're now known as Insider Studios. I started it about 6 years ago. And so much has changed in the industry in the United States over the last 6 years. And it was so in the weeds, I kind of didn't even notice or understand the big picture of how much things have changed until last year. Our founder and CEO, Henry Blodgett, he turned to me, he said, "Oh, Patricia, can you throw together some slides for me about what works in content marketing, what's effective, what, best practices, all that, thanks." And I said, "Well, that's kind of a big question, Henry." He said, "Well, I'm sure Digiday reports on what's effective." And what we discovered is that the trades don't really talk about what's good and what's effective in the same breath. The trades will often talk about partnerships and launches and awards, but nobody is really talking about content marketing after it's launched. Did it work? Did it not? So that turned into a 6-month sort of deep dive that I did. We did this huge report, talked to marketers in the industry, what works, what doesn't, what are the trends, and that's how Karsten and I sort of got connected, is talking about that as well as the differences between the United States and over here, which I'm happy to talk more about.
Yeah, I think this is one of the biggest questions that we all have. What is a big trend right now, and what's gonna happen in the future of content marketing?
Is that question directed to me? Thank you. That's an easy one. Okay, I'll pick that up. That comes totally unexpected, Yvonne. So, yes, I mean, it's a big question. As I was already mentioning, we're in the midst of another king wave of convergence in the media and entertainment landscape, and that is a topic that excites me the most. So we're talking convergence of different kinds of media, blurring distinctions between text, video, and audio content. It doesn't really matter today if a series was produced by a studio like Lionsgate, or by a social network, a platform, or a traditional TV broadcaster. So there's the blurring distinctions between different kinds of media, and then also the convergence of direct-to-consumer relationships, which is another hugely important topic right now. But particularly important for content marketing is the convergence of content and communication. And I'm sure some of you would say, okay, why aren't we talking directly about content and commerce? Because, we took a look at the industry and we still see some rooms for improvement when it comes to crafting good content. I'm not saying that all content marketing is at a bad place, but there are certain areas where you would have to ask yourself, is content marketing really living up to its highest potential? And is it really good content in the sense of people really caring about that content? You you still see great advertisers who craft these great corporate websites with great content, but in the end of the day, they do not receive as many eyeballs as that content would have deserved. And on the other hand, you see good or so-so content that is distributed across the web at low cost very efficiently, and that comes with some downsides again. So guys, let's talk about the convergence of content and communication and why this is important for you guys in 2019. And I'm gonna explain an approach that we didn't come up with on our own, but that BuzzFeed ideated, colleagues at BuzzFeed, a couple of years back, and that Jonah Peretti was referring to at another pretty good festival in Austin earlier this year. It's the cultural cartography. What is the cultural cartography all about? It's putting yourself in the shoes of the audience. That is something that Patricia is going to mention later on as well. But it's really taking the perspective of the viewer, the reader, and at the end, and this is what counts, a real human. So BuzzFeed analyzed all their videos and all their content that they had on social media, and instead of categorizing that content into different subject matters, they were actually looking at how the people were interacting with the content, how it made them feel. And so they identified 5 sectors: makes me laugh, this is me, helps me connect. So we are not talking subject matters here, we are talking real interaction, real emotions. So the bottom line is, if you look at the cultural cartography and apply that to content marketing, you have to ask yourself, what job is my content actually doing for my audience? So don't just think about what your content is, but think about what you want to do with it and what you want to achieve with the users. And this is the mindset for any brand marketer out there today. And we ourselves started to talk that way with advertisers when circling back on their creative briefs. And it's very interesting to see how our discussions in that field evolved over the past year. So that's cultural cartography. Who's your audience? What are they going to do? How do they consume content? And what do they really care about? And that is why I'm so super excited about that next case. So my background is in film, but that is not it. I don't know if you've heard about Guilty Party. Guilty Party was awarded at the Shorty Awards last weekend for being the best branded series of the last year. Yeah. What's so innovative about that approach and about Guilty Party? Well, it's a series, it's a fictional series about cyberbullying, and instead of crafting a lean-back experience like you would love for a Game of Thrones, they came up with a convergence of lean-back and lean-in experience. So they crafted a narrative, but they let their users interact with the characters in the stories. There was Google Classrooms, there was different channels on YouTube, and you would really become part of the story and not just watching it. And I think the results that 10-week campaign drove in are pretty exciting. So we see 42 million views, 83 million engagements. It's a great case. And it really shows you what mindset is crucial in 2019. We're not just crafting entertainment, but also content marketing. And I think these are like very interesting topics to look at right now.
Oh, yeah, that's a big case. So we've seen that data is a big engine in content marketing in those cases. But the question is, maybe Patricia, for you, is data the savior of content marketing or just a hype? What would you say?
Yeah, well, we definitely believe that the most successful marketers are going to be the ones that make smart use of the data that's generated by content. And if you step back and think about it, okay, look, we work in the realm of advertising, and nobody really likes ads. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that here, but with technology, people have ad blockers, people skip commercials. You know, we call that sort of thing interruptive advertising, where it's a commercial or pre-roll in front of the video that you actually wanted to watch. Content marketing is the thing that you want to watch. So it's a true indicator of intent when you have somebody watch a video, click on an article. It's because they really wanted to. And you can take the data that you generated from that person reading that piece of content or viewing that piece of content and tell a lot about the person. So the way that this becomes the most useful is when you have a longer program and you can collect lots of data on the people that are watching or viewing. And I have a little example here. This is a program we did last year with Chase and Marriott. It's called Travel Dares. It was Facebook's first branded watch show. We had 8 different episodes around the United States and then one in the Bahamas, where two friends challenged each other outside of their comfort zone in order to experience new and exciting things. And this was to launch the new Chase Marriott card. So I'm going to show you a very, very quick sizzle reel of what this was.
I'm Caroline.
And I'm Joe. We love to travel together, but have completely different interests.
So we're traveling around the country and
not get
challenging each other
sound,
to walk
Yeah,
blindfolded
sound is
into
gone.
activities
Okay,
that will
that's
take
fine.
us far
I will
out of
talk
our
over it.
comfort
Yeah.
So, as you can see, really, really fun. The advertiser wanted to make this seem not like an ad. That was their objective. They wanted to break through the summer media noise and have people feel like what they were watching was not a commercial. It was a massive project, many, many people involved. What made it more complicated was they really were surprised. So you have to have 2 different production teams and 2 different production books so that when they came upon the place, the surprise would be real. So it was a massive success because it was a Facebook watch show. People could sign up to follow along, see the new episodes. We had comments from people who, tagging your friends is sort of the new share. So when people tag their friends in the comments, I want to go do this, I want to go here. We got 6 months of excitement. People wanted more. It was done, and then people wanted to know, where is more? I want to see more. So here are some of the results. Oops. Well, that was supposed to show some of the results. Overall, we had almost 350,000 hours of viewing. The top viewed video got 11 million views, which is bigger than the population of Hungary, I believe. And so from all that data, we were able to tell about what people liked, what they were interested in, and all that. And I know that a lot of the rules are sort of cutting down on what you can measure, but with a longer program, you can gather more information about what they're doing, what they like, and where they are.
Yeah, this is a good case, a good example for using data, but there's another topic everybody's talking about. Maybe you've heard of, it's influencer marketing. And my question to Karsten is influencer just this hype, and how and when can we talk about good influencer marketing?
I mean, just take a look at this festival's agenda. There's influencer marketing everywhere. And I think it's a good moment to look at influencer marketing sometimes from a different approach. And that is why this bold statement is showing on the screen behind me. Make good content, not product placement. That doesn't seem new, but I think it's still a topic we need to talk about today. And I don't know if you're familiar with these 2 guys, but I thought it's a good idea to make them the center of the spotlight at this festival as well. How many of you have actually watched E.T.? I don't know, but I'm sure you're familiar with Steven Spielberg. He's known for a lot of great things, but not so many of you will know that he is actually a pioneer in product placement. Actually, Reese's Pieces weren't a huge success in the US before E.T. was released. And after the release of the movie, their sales grew up by over 300%. And another great example, 10 years later, Wayne Campbell. I mean, you know Wayne, and if not, you should look him up right now. So why am I showing you these 2 guys? It's really because product placement is not a bad thing. But sometimes if we look at influencer marketing campaigns today, we find ourselves in an authenticity dilemma. Sometimes influencers are advocating for products or endorsing products that they do not really like, that they do not really understand. We had a lively discussion about the Fire Festival yesterday night at dinner. Yeah. So that is a good example for this as well. And you have to have a framework and you have to follow certain guidelines if you want to craft good influencer marketing. And then it doesn't really care if you follow a more story-making approach or a product placement approach. And this is our orchestration of influencer marketing solutions. Unveil the secrets from the casting couch. I mean, it's a dilemma if you approach a influencer and you just give him a product and tell him to do something with it. You can really deep dive into the audience demographics, but also the engagement rates and levels of interactions, and have these sorts of data influence your creative strategy that you'll roll out on different kinds of platforms. And then secondly, take a showrunner's approach when crafting the content. There are so many influencers that have so many great talents, and you should really have that in the center when you craft these campaigns. So really unveil what stories they have to tell, instead of just giving them a product and letting them do whatever they want to do with it. And this drives you to the last and very important measuring phase. If you align reach, relevance, and return, the outcome will be positive, to say the least. It will be astounding. That's what we found with our campaigns that we did over the past year. And really take the approach of a storyteller when approaching influencers, because audiences love great stories. The story format evolves rapidly right now in the social media space, and that needs a different kind of approach when it comes to crafting great content, instead of just orchestrating beautiful posts on social media.
Yeah, right. And last but not least, let's switch to the last topic, my favorite topic, KPIs. Patricia, how do you measure a successful campaign from your point of view? What is the most powerful KPI today?
Well, that is a massive question. You know, when I started the studio 6 years ago, all we cared about was it being good. And as long as it was good, then everybody was happy. Well, 6 years later, 6.5 years later, it's not enough for it to be good anymore. It has to show a business result. You have to be able to prove success. What does success mean, and what is effectiveness? It's a massive question. But engagement really is going to be the true indicator of was something good, was something successful. But what does that mean? What we talk a lot about is, in order to ensure that somebody is reading it, engaging it, sharing it, that is a true measure of that's really going to move the needle on awareness, you need to put yourself in the shoes of the audience and think about, what are they coming to this site for, this social feed for? For example, and this is a real example, we had an enterprise software company come to us and say, oh, well, we know you reach a lot of IT decision makers. We now want you to write a lot of articles on IT decision making or IT software systems. Business Insider, if you read Business Insider at all, doesn't write about that a lot. But we have that audience, and they're reading other things. And so what we are concentrating on a lot right now is thinking about where that audience actually is. That IT decision maker, maybe it turns out through our DMP, we're able to measure that they read a lot on kitchen gadgets, let's say, or exotic vacations. So put yourself where they are. And we also put up this chart to really think about your audience as a person. They are a person, just like you. So if you think about the last thing that you shared on Facebook or Twitter or whatever, something that you liked, something that you shared via email, you were interfacing with content, and so are these people in the exact same way. Throughout the course of their day, they might be, on their phone, on their commute, listening to podcasts. I like to tell people, our publisher and CRO, Pete Spandy, he is on Instagram all the time, okay? And so people might say, oh, I want to reach C-suite individuals, but they won't think to be on Instagram. But C-suite individuals are on Instagram too, and he posts a lot of food pictures, and we all feel like we have to like all of his food pictures or we'll get fired. But, everybody is on every platform, and thinking about them as a person is really important. And so for us, audience behavior is much more important than any sort of demographics there might be.
Okay. Yeah, it seems the future of content marketing is bright and light, guys. Yeah, thanks, Patricia, thanks, Karsten and Alexander, to share your visions of the future. And if you would like to touch the future, don't hesitate to visit us at our booth, Axel Springer Media Impact, here at the OMR conference. Thanks.
Thank you. I'll take the clicker.